Hey guys, welcome to this week's edition of our Facebook Live in the permanent weight loss community. I'm Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist. Give me just a second. I'm going to get the stream started live in the group on Facebook. And by the way, if you want to be a part of the permanent weight loss community on Facebook, it's for folks who have 25 or more pounds to lose. They're tired of yo-yoing with their weight. And even if you're pretty far gone and you're looking to avoid weight loss surgery, trust me, I've had many clients over the years who've had weight loss surgery, gone through the rigors of recovering from that, and it worked maybe for 6 to 12 months. And then they not only gained all the weight back, but then some. So weight loss surgery doesn't really cover the gamut of what's going on there. There's a lot more to it, and I can definitely help you out. We go over strategies like this in the group every Thursday. So just give me 1 second. Let me get the group up and running. All right. So we're starting the stream, and it looks like the stream key is not accurate. Of course it's not. Enable persistent stream key. I do this every single time. You would think that it would have picked up on that by now, but it never, ever, ever does. All right, so let's change this. All right, and then let's try this again. So guys, if you want to join the permanent weight loss community, it's really simple. If you go on to Facebook and you just go to the search bar, type in permanent weight loss community, you'll see my beautiful mug up on that, and it's going to ask you 3 questions. So you're asked to join, and it's going to ask you 3 questions. So if you can answer those questions, great, and I'll let you into the group pretty shortly after you ask to join. And I have daily content in there Monday through Friday, as well as some other stuff. So anyway, we're about to get going here. We're going live in 3. Here we are, guys. Welcome to this week's edition of the Permanent Weight Loss Community Facebook Live. I'm Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist and the founder of the Permanent Weight Loss Community. We have a couple great questions today from BJ, and both unrelated, which is good. So we get to go into a couple of diverse topics. So guys, like I always say each and every week, if you're watching this live, I do this on a special type of software so I can actually show you the visuals to the questions, as well as if I ever use studies or something to cite what I'm talking about. So I will be checking the comments section periodically if you're interested. But just so you know, if you have a question, you didn't get it in before the show, that's okay. Just leave it in the comments and I'll be sure to get to it, all right? So first question from BJ today is there a difference in what I should be consuming? Oh, this is the wrong thing. Jeez. All right, so the first question that BJ asked was actually about sleep. So I'm going to actually pull it up here and read it live. I must have not switched that out. That was a previous question that BJ had. And BJ asked, do you have any recommendations for falling asleep? I've had some trouble there the last 2 weeks where I'm tired, but when I lay down, I become wide awake, and it's definitely hurting my progress. And yeah, definitely, I can definitely relate to that, BJ. In fact, the permanent weight loss pyramid, which is something I've shared here many times in the permanent weight loss community, shows the 4 pillars of what you need to succeed. And the third pillar, so the most important thing is mindset, right? We need to have our minds in the game. We want to have to do this for the right reasons. If you're just doing it to look good for a wedding or an event coming up, or you're doing it to look good on a beach, I'm sorry, your mind's not in the game. You're not doing it for the right reasons. And while you may see some short-term results, you're never going to see the long-term results when you continue to think with that mentality. The second thing, which is the first on the physical side, is nutrition. So you can have the best exercise program in the world. You can work out 4, 5, 6, even 7 days a week, and you can work out hard. But if your nutrition sucks, you're never going to see results. So obviously you need to clean that up. But the rung after that is sleep. Sleep is ahead of fitness, actually. And the reason for that is sleep helps regulate your hormone levels. When you're not getting a lot of sleep, your body produces a lot of cortisol, which is otherwise known as the stress hormone. And basically what that does is it makes you very hungry, and you're going to be a lot more susceptible to making very, very poor dietary choices. Cortisol also stimulates the insulin resistance cycle, which leads to fat accumulation and storage, and can obviously, if you are deprived enough of sleep and you're making enough bad food choices over an extended period of time, it can make you insulin resistant, which is a nice way of saying you become type 2 diabetic. So yeah, BJ, absolutely, sleep is crucial to this. And what I like to do with sleep is, well, a couple of things. So if there's any pillar on this pyramid that I've had trouble with, it is sleep. I eat right a vast majority of the time. I exercise very regularly, and my mind is definitely in the game. This is what I do for a living, and not just on top of for myself, but if I'm going to serve you guys best, I have to practice what I preach. And so obviously there's a lot of pressure on me to continue to do that, which is good. It keeps me on my game. But sleep has always been something I've found very, very hard to come by. And a way to get to sleep is a couple of things. So I went through the thread with BJ, and he did mention that he's a little more stressed now than he usually is for whatever the reason. We didn't get into specifics, and the specifics really don't matter in this case. But we all go through those periods, right, where yeah, we have the regular stress of life, whether you're a parent, you have a job, you have to care for somebody at home or in your family, whatever it is, we've got enough stressors, but obviously things always happen. I recently moved. My girlfriend completely tore a ligament in her ankle, and so a lot of the physical stuff that has to be done around the house is more so on me now more than ever because she can't really do very much. And so, yeah, I've been through that even recently. So the way that I get to sleep, BJ, when I'm extra stressed is I started practicing meditation. And this may seem hippy-dippy, but meditation really does work. And there are some great apps out there like Headspace and Calm that have guided meditations, and they have progressions. So they'll ask you some preliminary questions if you sign up. It's pretty cheap. I think both are between $25 and $50 for an annual subscription. And it'll ask you in the beginning, aside from your name and your email and all that fun stuff, is, are you a beginner? Have you ever done this before? You say no. And it takes you through the short 2 to 5 minute introductory phases, just teaching you how to clear your mind, how to focus on one thought at a time. And instead of reacting to it and letting something stress you out further, you just acknowledge it. Okay, I'm thinking this. And then you let it go, and so on. And this way of calming your mind and quieting it enables you to chill out when you need to, and obviously in this case, get to sleep. So like I said, between moving and a lot of stuff going on with me lately, I have not been in a great routine. There have been a lot of things that have popped up into my day in terms of rearranging furniture, buying things we didn't realize we needed to buy for the new place, making the travel adjustments necessary. There's a whole slew of stuff that's been going on with me lately, and there have been nights where, like you said in your thread, your body is tired and yet you can't fall asleep. Your mind's going a million miles a minute. And so while yes, your body is technically resting, your mind is not enabling it to get that full rest by going to sleep. So what I like to do, BJ, is once you get the hang of meditation, again, I highly recommend you get the Calm or Headspace app, whichever one. I don't have an affiliation with either of them. They're both very, very good. You can pick whichever one you want. They even have, free months or weeks. I don't know what their promotions are, but you could try it out and just get the basic tenets. And I don't meditate that often anymore, but the practice of meditation, which I did for about a year or two ago, has really enabled me to now just slow everything down in my mind and focus on one thing at a time and acknowledge, is this a valid thought? If so, why? If not, just let it go. A thought is a thought. It's not reality. You only make it reality when you actually take that thought and you continue to let it manifest inside of you and then manifest with your actions in the world. So if there's something going on in your life, BJ, and this is for anybody who struggles with sleep, because again, sleep is vitally important to your weight loss journey. Close your eyes, breathe in deeply. So take 5, 6, 10, however many you need, calm yourself, and then really tune in. What is it that's making my mind race? And it might be multiple things, that's fine. Focus on one. What is the most pertinent one? And then think it through. What is the thought? Is it self-doubt, incorporated with this thought? Is it just the thought itself, something coming up that's freaking you out, whether it's an event, whether it's a presentation at work, whatever. Acknowledge it and just know that in 99.9% of life's instances, your worst fear is never going to come to fruition with anything that you're worried about. In fact, a lot of situations that we go into thinking they're going to be negative, whether it's an uncomfortable conversation or something like that, it ends up being a big positive. even if it doesn't go great, you learn something from it, and then you leave it going, wow, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than it actually was. So it's acknowledging the thought, seeing if it has validity. 9 out of 10, the stuff that's formulating in our minds is not valid, and thus you just take a deep breath, inhale, exhale, and just let it push away almost in your mind. It sounds hippy-dippy, but it really works. And then if there's multiple things going on, like I said, then move on to the next thing and say, okay, what's the next thing? And same process goes through. 9 times out of 10, the thought isn't really all that valid. It's just self-doubt and fear that's creeping into our minds. We just have to acknowledge it's there. Yes, it's not the most comfortable situation or thing that we're worried about in the world, but hey, we've been through worse. We're going to get through it. We acknowledge it and we let it go. And believe me, it's almost like counting sheep, except you're being more proactive with your thoughts. Once you get through 2 or 3 of those, if there are 2 or 3 of those, sometimes there's only 1, you'll be a lot more well rested, and you may even fall asleep before you finish working one out, which is great. So BJ, I would try that next time when your body's tired and you lay down to sleep and your mind's going a mile a minute and it can't calm down. All right, so I hope that helps you out, BJ, and I hope that helps everybody out, because it's definitely an important thing. And okay, so I forgot to upload the right images for BJ quickly, so I'm going to go into his next question. I'm just going to read it verbatim here. And he asked, is there a certain kind of yoga that is better for me as someone who also lifts? There are many different kinds of options out there. Yeah, there are a million options out there. So BJ, I'm going to give you 3 things you can look to. And I don't know what's available near you in terms of yoga classes or yoga studios. I don't know how familiar or not you are with yoga, but like I've advocated in the past on the fitness side, it's great to do a minimum of once or twice a week, because if you're doing any high impact activity, whether it's interval training like I do with my clients, whether you play a sport, most sports outside of golf or bowling or something are pretty high impact in some capacities. So it's good to be able to take a day or 2 and for your fitness just stretch out, break up that scar tissue, and really let your body recover. So there's 3 types of yoga. So for starters, if you're going to go to a studio or a place near you, there is something called restorative yoga, and it's specifically for people who are rehabbing from injuries, or like you, if you weightlift, it's for people who want to recover from something like that. So it's called restorative yoga. It's offered in a lot of different places, so just see if there's a place near you that offers that if you want to take a class in it. Number 2, there's a type of yoga called yin yoga, and that focuses more so on flexibility. So something that a lot of weightlifters struggle with is, they isolate their muscles, they pump themselves up, they do build muscle mass, but as someone who used to have a lot more muscle mass in a lot more areas of my body, I was extremely inflexible. I had quite a lot of muscle, I had a lot of strength behind it, but I was very inflexible, and also just explosiveness and power and body strength. I didn't really have a lot of that. I had trained my body to specifically do these certain types of lifts, whether it be with free weights or on machines. So the flexibility training is crucial in my opinion. So I would change it up, BJ, between restorative and yin. It's called yoga, yin, Y-I-N, as in Nathan, and see how that goes. And then lastly, the thing that helped me the most, and again, I've been in touch with him, I know the guy a little bit, but we don't really have a affiliation of sorts where I get paid for referring people, but I refer people to him all the time, is Diamond Dallas Page. I know, BJ, you know him. You're a big wrestling nut like I was when I was a kid. And Diamond Dallas Page has his own form of yoga. And I did it almost exclusively in terms of my workouts outside of softball and whatnot for a year. And I got to tell you, my performance on the field and in life just went up. My flexibility skyrocketed. My functionality improved vastly. And I'm really a firm believer in his program and in yoga in general, the power of yoga to enable you to undo flexibility. Because let's face it, guys, we're supposed to be very active creatures. We're not supposed to be sitting at a desk 8 to 12 hours a day, commuting, whether sitting in a car, on a train, or on a bus for an hour to 2 hours a day, and then coming home, plopping on the couch, eating a TV dinner, then laying down in bed. We're not supposed to be sitting all the time. In fact, I have a standing desk, and I recommend all my clients and all of you, if you have a corporate office type of job, to get a standing desk. They have cheap ones on Amazon where literally it's like a little platform that you put on top of your desk. You can put your computer up there, your phone, whatever, and you can stand and do work. And that's great because then you're not constricting your blood flow. The more you sit, the more you constrict your blood flow, the more inflammation you cause, the more susceptible to injury and to even some health conditions, depending on how often you sit. So I would highly recommend a standing desk and things like that. But BJ, back to your question. Yeah, so there's restorative or yin yoga if you have a studio near you, or if you're willing to invest about $100, get a DVD or online program from Diamond Dallas Page. DDP Yoga is what it's called. Great stuff. I personally did it for a year. I highly recommend it if you want to do any type of recovery yoga. All right, so BJ, I hope I answered that question. Let me see if there's anyone else here. No one's left a comment. So the last thing we're going to do is I want to go over for you guys here in the permanent weight loss community, if you're watching this later on YouTube or you're listening to my podcasts on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher, that I'm willing to do some strategy calls with you. So if you go to my website at weightlossbypete.com/strategy, you can set up a strategy call directly with me. There's different types of events, they call it. It's just scheduling software, but you can book time on my calendar in 15 to 30 minute blocks, depending on what it is. So you would scroll to the bottom of this page and there would be a strategy session option for 30 minutes. You would go in there, you'd book a date and time that works for you, and that will enable us for free to go through a health questionnaire, which you'd have to fill out prior to the call. And I can give you some real world advice in terms of how you can better your success rate on your health and on your weight loss journey. It's a very, very difficult thing, and there's a lot to it. It's not just the physical game, because there's a lot of misconception out there about the best way to eat, the best way to exercise, and the best way to go about it. And then also, a lot of people don't even realize that it's a mental game. So it's important to get the mental game right. And by filling out this health questionnaire and then me walking through it with you, we'll be able to give you some real-time strategies you could do. So the second you hang up the phone or you get off the Skype or FaceTime, however we decide to do it with me, you can go and start executing on that plan. Or if you want to work with me, I do have some lower cost options that can really help you get on track and get going. And ultimately, my goal with you, as it would be with any client I work with in whatever capacity it is that I ultimately don't want you to stay with me forever. You're going to get to a point where you reach your goal weight, you reach your goals, and in doing so, you would have built the healthy habits necessary in terms of nutrition, sleep, and fitness to continue to act on them as you go forward. All right, and that's crucially important. So ultimately, I want you to get to a point where you don't need me anymore. And there's a lot of people in this industry who can't say that. Even the big companies, they want to keep selling you on their new supplement lines, on their new fitness programs, on their new whatever. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need all that crap. You just need a little bit of knowledge, some drive. We need to tweak your mindset. We need to make sure you're doing everything appropriately. By the time you get to your goal, like I said, your habits have been instilled and you're ready to go. So again, if you want to set up a call with me, just go to weightlossbypete.com/strategy, select the strategy session option, and book a 30-minute time with me on a date and time on my calendar. Works for you. Get real-time access to my calendar. All right. And lastly, if you're watching this at a later time, whether on YouTube or again listening on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher, join the Permanent Weight Loss community on Facebook. It's free. All you gotta do is either go to Facebook, type in Permanent Weight Loss Community in your search bar. You'll see my mug in the picture. You just ask to join. It'll ask you 3 questions. I look at those 3 questions. I've turned away at least a couple hundred people because they have, and the group's not that big. We're in the 160s right now. And the reason for that is that I've turned people away because their answers to those questions have not been sufficient in my mind. They don't want it for the right reasons. They want a quick fix. I want to lose 60 pounds in 2 months. No thanks. I want people who are ready to make a healthy, sustainable, and permanent change. I want to help you avoid weight loss surgery. I want to help you avoid, if it hasn't already happened, type 2 diabetes or real-time obesity, and I want to help you reverse those trends, develop the healthy habits you need so that not only will you lose the weight you want to lose and look good by the end of it, but you'll also be good in terms of having the habits developed that are necessary to keep the weight off. So I thank you guys for watching and listening. Again, this is Pete Weintraub, Permanent Weight Loss Specialist. I'm signing off here in the Permanent Weight Loss community. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll talk to you guys on next Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Have a good one.